Hey internet, and welcome to my naked face. Hey guys, it's Kayla. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the makeup booktube tag, which I was not tagged by anybody, but I love this tag so much. And this is my second time filming this. I tried filming this yesterday, and I didn't get it done before the Cowboys game, so I'm starting over. Go Cowboy. First question is primer. A book that left a lasting impression. My primer I'm using is the e.l.f. primer, the poreless primer. And for me, the most recent book that really left a lasting impression was Room by Emma Donoghue. I'm sure most of you have heard or read or saw the movie, but when I read that book, I had like a 3-day book hangover. Like, I could not stop thinking about it, I couldn't stop talking about it, and I couldn't let myself start anything else because it felt disrespectful. Just had to like absorb the story in. And I don't know if it's just because I'm a mom. I really don't think it was. I think it was intensified because I'm a mom. But I highly recommend if you haven't read it yet. It's about this mother and her son, and they're in a room, and that's all I'm gonna tell you without being spoiled. That's all I knew going in, even though I kind of, had a feeling. Number 2, foundation. Pick your favorite first book in a series. Foundation I'm using is the Infallible Pro Glow. It's okay. My favorite first book, that's really hard, because I normally love the last book or the second book, or maybe some random book in the series. But I picked The Uglies by Scott Westerfeld, and I like The Uglies. I like dystopians. Probably one of the few people that still like dystopians on BookTube. But I read it back in high school, and that was like 10 years ago. Almost. And I read the rest of the series like 3 years ago. But I still just really I remember enjoying the first book a little bit more than the others, just because as far as like the stages of that world go, Uglies was my favorite. It's just a dystopian about this world where when you turn like, I don't know, 15 or 16, you go from ugly to pretty, and uglies are what you and I look like they're normal people. And then when you turn 16, you get to have this plastic surgery from head to toe, and you turn pretty, and pretty much all the girls look the same, and all the boys look the same. Mostly, like, they're all enhanced and beautified. And then when you're older, you get like paired off with your partner, and you go and have children, and it's all just very like assembly line-esque in a weird way. And then there are these creatures called specials that are like the governmental army or secret service type things, and basically they're just super humanoids, and it's just about their little bubble world, and then discovering life outside their bubble world like most dystopians are. And I don't know. Moving on to concealer, pick a character you wish you could get rid of. I personally like villains or unloved characters. And I couldn't really think, I'm using Morphe concealer, by the way. I couldn't think of a side character that didn't need to be there, either because I couldn't remember them or I thought they had purpose. So my pick for this is John Paul from The Husband's Secret by Leanne Mortuary. And that book is like an adult mystery. It's about these three moms, from three different families, and how they're all interconnected. And it's about what ifs and the choices you make in life and the different roads and paths that those choices can take you to. And basically John Paul is one of the husbands that have a secret. And even though he's like one of the main characters in the book, just for fun, I would like to erase him just because of the what ifs if he wasn't involved in the story, without spoiling too much. For powder, pick your favorite last book in a series. So I'm using the Laura Mercier powder. But my choice is The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan. I love the Percy Jackson. I love the Percy Jackson series. And I honestly like the Heroes of Olympus even more. I listened to them all in audiobook, which is okay. I found that I don't remember as much with like fantasy, like so many characters, I guess, with audiobook. But I also listened to it like 3 years ago, like all of the books from both series. But I thought it was a great conclusion. I haven't continued on into the new spin-off series or whatever they're called. At least not yet, but I thought it was a good conclusion and I highly enjoyed that book and series. Eyebrows, a book that you think everyone should read. Now for my eyebrows, I usually use powder from a Naked Basics, which is just an eyeshadow palette. A book that I think everyone should read is The Body by Stephen King. It's actually a novella. That was my first Stephen King read, and for me it's important in my reading journey because prior to reading that, I've only read kind of cheesy YA contemporary, which is fine, but after reading that I couldn't go back. Like his writing style and the way that he writes his characters and the story is just so detailed, and you feel so engrossed in the story that not all authors do that, which is fine depending on the story. But for me it seems like once I got that taste, I can never not have that in my story anymore. It's what the movie Stand By Me is based off of. So it's about these group of boys, and in their town there's rumors that there's a dead body in the forest just outside their town. And so one day they decide to go find it and see if it's true, and it's just about their journey, and it's kind of like a coming of age story, and I highly recommend it. I read it only a few years ago and I enjoyed it. I would have enjoyed it more if I was a middle school aged boy, but I still really liked it, and then I continued on reading other Stephen King novels. Unlike most of them, it's not horror, it's just kind of a coming of age story, and it's really great. So I highly recommend everyone should at least read something from Stephen King. Woolies for your eyebrows best friend. Highly recommend. Eyeshadow, pick a book that has your favorite colors on the cover. So my favorite color is, well, first of all, sorry, I keep looking at myself in the viewfinder. I'm still a newbie, guys. Okay, so my favorite colors is orange. And the book I picked for this is When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. I started listening to this book on audiobook and I couldn't finish it. It's not my cup of tea. A lot of people seem to enjoy it though. It's about Indian boy and girl who are somewhat assigned to be married when they're older. I can't think of what that phrase is called. He knows about her and the arrangement and she doesn't, and they meet at this tech app making camp, which I thought was kind of interesting. However, you learn very little about that in the book. Basically, it's just about their romance, and I found it really boring. I think I got to like 30%, and it's like a 10-hour audiobook. I don't know how many pages the physical book is. It looks pretty big. Hi! Can you say hi? Can you say hi?
Hi.
I also couldn't stand the audiobook because there's 2 different narrators, which I was excited about. However, the book is written in dual perspective. So one chapter is Dimple, no, and one chapter is Rishi. You know, they did their own voices, but then they would voice, like quote each other and then all the other side characters. You got 2 different voices for all these different characters, and it was just annoying after a while. It wasn't confusing. You obviously knew who was who, no matter who was talking, but it was just annoying to listen to. Like I couldn't do it for multiple reasons. I'm 28 and married, and I don't care about teenage romance, even though they're going into college, and, you know, and she was, you know, not into that. It was still just like, if it's not like fantasy YA or magical realism or mystery thriller, if it's just contemporary YA, it's boring. Like I don't care about high schoolers' lives. Are you all done? Okay, go on. Eyeliner. Pick a dark and mysterious book. Eyeliner is Physician's Formula little pen thingy. And I chose Night Film by Marissa Pessel. Night Film is like a mystery about this reporter who's like a washed up reporter who suddenly becomes entranced and obsessed with the mysterious death of this young girl who is the daughter of this famous movie director of these things called night films, which they're just like his movies were so dark and mysterious that they weren't produced by like big companies anymore, and they weren't shown in theaters, and so like you had to like know the code word and code symbols, and they were shown like underground and subway tunnels and secret meetings after midnight and all this stuff. And so there's the mystery about him and who he is and even what he looks like and what he's all about, what his movies are about, and then the daughter's death. But it's just long. There's a lot of story to it, which I like. I personally love long books. The longer it is, the more complex the characters are, and the better the plot line is, in my opinion. And Night Film is definitely that, and you get the essence of a story within a story. So you learn about the film stories, like the different, like there's like 6 different films. You gradually learn a little bit about these movies. There's clues in the movies that relate to what's going on, and it's so interesting. Like there's so many different plot turns, and then there's the whole essence of what is real and what is not real. It's one of those books that, you know, make you think and make you question things, because that's how like the director, his movies are supposed to like question society and question the norm and live life to the fullest, all through like, you know, facing your fears and stuff. Mascara. Pick a long book. I'm pretty sure the longest book I've ever read is Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. Highly recommend it if you like the show at all. Oh, I'm using Voluminous Lush Paradise. I love this stuff. I think it's supposed to be a dupe for Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, which I've never used, so I couldn't tell you if that's true or not. Anyways, I decided to read Game of Thrones back in January instead of rewatching the series. I started rewatching like episode 1, I got so depressed, and so I decided to read the book, and I flew through the first book. And as far as I recall, it's exactly like season 1 of Game of Thrones. So if you're an avid Game of Thrones fan like I am, and you haven't read the books, and you're a reader, read the books, they're so good. I'm like halfway through the second one. Blush, pick a book that had some cringe-worthy romance. The Milani Baked blush in Luminoso, it's almost gone. I love it so much. And I'm picking the brother and sister from Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. I freaking bought this book on ebook. I couldn't wait to read it from the library like 2 years ago because of a booktuber that I loved, like gave it 5 stars, was obsessed with it. So I was like, oh, okay. And I knew going in what it was about. Brother and sister falling in love and incest and stuff. But I still thought, well, maybe there's more to it. No, there's really not. Horrible family dynamic that pushes this brother and sister to fall in love, and that's about it. Eyeliner, a book that brightened your day. And oh, this one. I picked 3 Dark Crowns by Kendari Blake. Although it is not a happy sunshine book, it's my new favorite book. I flew through this book in one day. Oh, and I'm using, oh, this is nasty, the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder. 3 Dark Crowns is about this island, and there's these 3 sisters that are triplets, and they each have their own magical power, and they are raised away from their mother in these factions that represent their said power. And when they turn 16, they do a year-long battle to kill each other, and the one sister that's still alive becomes the new queen. And then she gets married, and then after she rules, and after a certain amount of time, she has triplets, and they're gonna be girls. She has the 3 triplets, and she moves on to the mainland, and then the cycle continues. Your favorite book, Kiss. Now, I wouldn't call this my favorite, but it's my most memorable, at least in this point in my reading journey that I can remember. This is the liquid lipstick from Everlasting Liquid Lipstick by Kat Von D, and it's in Santa Sangre. But I'm choosing The Kiss in Crown and Midnight by Sarah J. Maas between Aylin and Cal. I say Cal, everyone says Kale. Oh, I guess it wasn't Aylin. It was Selena and Cal, not Aylin. I'm definitely a shipper of Aylin and Rowan. However, I enjoyed Selena and Cal's kiss more. Like, I just remember it. I just remember feeling happy. I like reread it. I read it 2 different times. Okie dokie. So I think that's it. The long video, long tag. So thank you guys for bearing with me. I want to do this. I love watching these videos. So if you did this video, please link it down below or tell me that you've done it. I'll go watch it. And I guess I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.
Bye, guys.